They thought I was crazy, but I did have money, so that was okay.
You said in your endeavor here to explore space that we are committed to failing in a new way, if nothing else. What did you mean by that? Just how it sounds?
Well, I mean, we're committed to succeed, really. But if we do fail, I would hope that we at least add to the body of knowledge such that those who follow may make fewer mistakes.
Take us back to when you were young. What were you like? What did you do? And how was motivation and drive sort of manifested and cultivated?
So I definitely was very driven as a kid and very willful. One of the things that I remember most from my childhood is I was, I think, 6 or something, maybe around that age. I was just learning to read, basically, and I was grounded one afternoon and prevented from going to play with my cousins who lived on the other side of town. And I disagreed with this, so I escaped from my nanny and walked across town.
At 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I could barely read the road signs. So, I mean, irrespective, this was obviously a very foolish thing to do because something terrible could have happened to me. I could have been kidnapped or run over or something like that.
Right.
But I was so determined to go play with my cousins that I basically walked clear across the city, the capital city.
At 6 years old?
Yeah. My mom got really freaked out because she saw me, just as I was getting to my cousin's house, she saw me walking along the sidewalk and flipped out because she didn't know how I got there. And then I saw her and I ran and climbed up a tree and I wouldn't come down until they promised they wouldn't punish me and that I could play with my cousins.
And so they never punished you?
I didn't get punished, actually, but they didn't let me play with my cousins either.
I would have to be insane if I thought the odds were in my favor.
Why even begin?
When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor.
Well, when my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. And we showered at the YMCA, and we're so hot up we had just one computer, so the website was up during the day, and I was coding at night, 7 days a week, all the time. And I sort of briefly had a girlfriend in that period, and in order to be with me, she'd have to sleep in the office. And life has to be about more than just solving problems. It can't be that all you do every day is wake up and just sort of solve one miserable problem or another. There have to be exciting and inspiring events that make life worth living in the first place.
What drives you? Is it just, I am right and they're all wrong?
I'm always to some degree wrong, and the aspiration is to be less wrong. We're always to some degree wrong. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm probably not the guy that most people would bet on.
Who wins?
It's like a little kid fighting a bunch of sumo wrestlers. Usually the sumo wrestlers win. We're a little scrappy company. Every now and again, the little scrappy company wins.
I think it was tough going there in the beginning because I'd never built anything physical. I mean, I'd built like little model rockets as a kid and that kind of thing, but I'd never had a company that built anything physical. So I had to kind of figure out how to do all these things and bring together the right team of people, and so we did all that and then failed 3 times. It was tough going.
If things had just gone a little bit the other way, both companies would be dead. And I had, like, one of the most difficult choices I ever faced in life was in 2008. I think I had maybe $30 million left, or $30 or $40 million left in 2008. And I had 2 choices. I could put it all into one company, and then the other company would definitely die, or split it between the 2 companies. But if I split it between the 2 companies, then both might die. And when you put your blood, sweat, and tears into creating something, or building something, it's like a child. And so it's like, which one am I going to let one starve to death? I couldn't bring myself to do it, so I split the money between the two. Fortunately, thank goodness, they both came through.
When you had that third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated.
2008 was brutal. Yeah, 2008, we had the third consecutive failure of the Falcon 1 rocket for SpaceX. Tesla almost went bankrupt. We closed our financing round 6 p.m. Christmas Eve 2008. It was the last hour of the last day that it was possible. We would have gone bankrupt 2 days after Christmas otherwise. And I got divorced. That was like rough, man.
Work hard every waking hour. And I mean, if you do simple math, say like, okay, if somebody else is working 50 hours and you're working 100, you'll get twice as much done in the course of a year as the other company.
How much of your personal fortune have you poured into this?
$100 million.
$100 million into something that you did not believe would work at the beginning.
Yes.
You know, there are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight and the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. You know, I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here. And I think that would change their mind.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult.
Did you expect them to cheer you on?
So they're hoping they would.
I tried very hard to get the right expertise in for SpaceX. I tried hard to find a great chief engineer for the rocket, but the good chief engineers wouldn't join, and the bad ones, well, there was no point in hiring them. So I ended up being chief engineer of the rocket.
Because after we made the Tesla Roadster, people said, oh, sure. We always knew you could make a car like that. It's an expensive car, and it's low volume, and it's small and all that, but you couldn't make a real car. Like, okay, fine, we got to make that too. Now is the time to take risk. As you get older, your obligations increase. So and once you have a family, you start taking risk not just for yourself, but for your family as well. It gets much harder to do things that might not work out. So now is the time to do that before you have those obligations. So I would encourage you to take risks now. Do something bold. You won't regret it. You guys are the magicians of the 21st century. Don't let anything hold you back. Imagination is the limit, and go out there and create some magic.